All right, everybody, welcome back to Stinker Drinker Thinker. We are three guys. We pour some pours, we make some cocktails, and we rank them in this absolutely ridiculous ranking system. And by now, you've liked, subscribed, shared, and listened to all 80 episodes. My name is Anthony Longano, and I have a story to tell.
I'm Troy. How you doing?
I'm Matt. I think we're doing this.
My name is Anthony Longano. I'm your host. And I have a fucking story to tell that involves my two friends, who are my co-hosts, Troy the Body of Galati. Troy, say hello. And Matt McKibble. Matt, say hello. This story is...
Hi.
This story is all about Matt McKibble.
Oh. Story time.
A couple weeks ago, Matt heard a knock on his window.
A lot of knocks.
And he was in his apron with no underwear on in his kitchen. And he was peeling onions.
Wow.
And his wife, who was standing there with a whip, telling him to peel the onions faster, said, Matt, there's a bird at the window. Open the window and let the bird in. So Matt opened the window, and the bird come in. He was like, hey, Matt, I'm from Jefferson's whiskey off the special island of Whiskeyville off the coast of California. And you won our special whiskey that's aged in our special at-sea barrels, and you need to come pick it up if you want it. And Matt's like, yeah, I'll spend $225 on a fucking whiskey that's a gimmick and aged at sea. Sure. So then Matt, what he did is he took off his apron, didn't put on underwear, went in his backyard, chopped down all of his neighbor's trees, and built a boat. It's called Matthew's Ark. And he got in it, and on the street, he took a row and started rowing himself down a street in his boat. And he went all the way off the coast of California, traveled all the way across the country, and paid $225 fucking dollars for this bottle of Jefferson's that I personally think is going to stink. But I really want to be proven wrong because any Jefferson's Oceans I've ever had sucks. That's my story.
That's a pretty accurate story to what really happened.
What really happened?
So what actually happened was that on December 7th, I got an email that says, congratulations, you've been selected for an exclusive bottle. I said, oh, tell me more. Congratulations, Matt. You've been selected to purchase, asterisk, an exclusive bottle of Jefferson's Reserve Twin Oak Extra Aged at Sea. How? You just show up at the distillery and get it. How much is it? You don't really want to know. It's $250. Oh, what makes it so special? It's extra aged. What does that mean? You'll have to come to Jefferson's to find out. And so there's only 200 bottles ever made.
You have bottle number 6.
I have bottle number 6.
That's cool.
So I got that email. Whatever the day of the week the 7th is, probably a Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and say that. And I said, well, I'm free this weekend. I live a couple hours away. Let's just drive there first thing Saturday morning. So I drove there, and I got this special bottle for you to try. Anthony, just you. Nobody else.
I'm the only one trying it today.
Had you been there before?
I have never been there before.
What part of Kentucky is it in? How did you like it?
It was one of the drive-bys because it was just kind of a stop along the way. It's in Crestwood, Kentucky.
Is it near anything else?
It's called Kentucky Artisans Distillery. It's actually not called Jefferson.
Right.
It's not really. So from downtown Louisville, it was approximately 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
East.
What direction? East. Okay.
And so we kind of made a thing. So we went there. We picked it up. They were super nice. I've
heard that about them.
They offered to give me a tour. They're like, we really like. For all the people that are getting this bottle, because you're spending so much money on it, we super appreciate it. We're giving everybody a free tour because I think normally it's a paid whatever tour. You can hang out with us. We really want to know what you think about it. Like when you try, give us a review. Here's my card. So they're super, super nice about it. Unfortunately, I kind of had to go. So I was just like,
okay.
I'm really sorry. Like, I'll let you know what I think about it, but I'll just got to get my bottle and go.
Yeah, and I'll back up and saying that my little story time thing was 100% a joke. I'm actually really excited to try this. I just like to, and if anyone from Jefferson's is listening, I like to make fun of Matt for what he does for whiskey. I mean, I drove to Four Roses to buy their bottle this year, twice in a week. Yep. So I can't really say anything bad about that. I've never really been a fan of Jefferson's, but anything double oaked, I'm usually pretty happy about. The aged at sea thing. Hopefully you have some info on that. Apparently they have a special barrel they use specifically for that too.
Yeah, so it's extra scraped up essentially, so it tumbles. There's more surface area.
Yeah.
So it gets more aged, I guess. I would have learned a lot more if I did the tour. Unfortunately, I couldn't. But I will say Jefferson's Ocean was one of the first ones that the stories got me into the whiskey more so than the whiskey that I was excited about. So I'm like, oh my God, HC, that's super cool. I can tell people about it. It's kind of a cool thing to grab onto. I think at first I liked it because of the story, and then I kind of decided as I compared it wasn't my favorite whiskey. I know a lot of people who swear by it, who love it. The guy sitting here at work actually is like his brother-in-law. That's his favorite whiskey of all time. So
A lot of people love it, man.
really love it.
Yeah.
I put down a lot of Jefferson, but very little Jefferson Ocean. But Jefferson Reserve was one of the first bourbons that like solidified my love for bourbon, and that was when it was. I mean, now it's like $50 a bottle. Back then it was closer to like high 30s or 40, like right around the single barrel. 4 was a single barrel sort of price range, and I thought that they were both like on par with each other at the time. But
yeah,
Ocean. I mean, Ocean is what it is. Yeah.
The cast apparently the cast strength Ocean, which I actually saw at the liquor store at Gaze a while back, a couple weeks ago, is supposed to be pretty significantly better if you're into that. So
Did you buy it?
No.
Why not?
Probably I should have. I don't know. Didn't really feel like spending a lot of money that day. Probably could have. Unlike me, I know, right? But I think we should just get in. Let's just open up first. Let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
Let's just
Before
do
we
it.
even talk about the other bottle, let's just get it over with. I'm genuinely excited and like at the same time just like yeah.
It honestly, even if it's not my favorite whiskey, it's a cool thing. Like I said, there's only 200
I think it's pretty
bottles.
fucking awesome. We got bottle number 6 of 200.
Yeah.
106 proof, twin oak custom barrel, very rare.
I missed the bottle number 2 by a day.
Oh,
so,
man, that's fine.
Whatever. What can you do?
Our custom designed wave barrel creates an innovative and a unique environment to finish. And this is really small. To finish our fully mature Kentucky straight bourbon. I will say this, man. Any Jefferson I have had, it's just like definitive of what Kentucky bourbon tastes like. It's like, you know what I mean? It's got like that, Wild Turkey, Buffalo Trace, Kentucky fucking bourbon thing to it. But
I don't know how much I
today might be the day where I get impressed by Jefferson's.
Maybe. I genuinely wish I could have taken the tour and talked to him more because I would love to actually know the whole history of this because I don't know how much
that's really
extra
cool of them to offer that to you, too.
Yeah, it was, and they literally said you can take a rain check, just come back and like just show us your email, and like that's super cool. So
maybe we'll go with you.
Yeah. I was like, I told them, not that I like spread it around, but it's like, hey, I do a podcast. I'll make sure to send you guys a link. They're like, oh man, bring everybody back and like come hang out. I'm like, okay, that'd be pretty cool. So yeah,
I'd be down for that.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
I really like the cap.
Yeah,
it's kind of like pirate ship or like sea boat
Yar.
steering wheel.
Yar har har. So this was Jefferson's, and that's why I think they're so hyped about it. This is their first ever distillery only release.
They do source a lot of stuff. I think that some of the Jefferson Ocean stuff is MGP too, from what I've heard.
That was literally just about to ask that.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first one they've ever done, which is why they're super excited about it.
Well, then this is a totally different bottle than I've like. That's exciting.
Well, the first only distillery exclusive.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
They do a longer cork than most, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
That was scary.
Extra secure. It's like the ocean.
I had it under control. I would never crash our ship.
All right, Captain Troy. Captain Troy, bring me to the whiskey.
If you guys need a mascot, Troy would make a really good butt pirate.
On the starboard, your whiskey, sir.
Troy crashes the ship and he's just like holding on to the specialty barrel. I'll never let go, Jeff.
I think we should do a separate rating for how enjoyable the bottles or easy the bottle is to pour from.
This smells fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the same bottle as the rest of their.
Look at that fucking color, man. Look at that.
Yeah, it's
I mean, obviously that's a double barrel characteristic, but
dark.
It smells great.
It
So we have no idea what the age is.
No, it's extra though.
Extra age, the new age statement.
Yeah. So they say extra seasoned grooved out barrels. So there's more contact with the oak.
And for people who don't know, when you're talking about seasoning barrels, it's not necessarily like they're throwing fucking Cajun spice in there. It's literally like the curing process of the staves that go into making the barrels. So it's extra typical time frame for most whiskey makers that is 6 to 12 months, where they literally let the staves that they cut naturally cure out in the open. They get rained on, they get dried out by the sun, and they interact with nature essentially. And then they dry them out. So if it's extra age, I think that Michter's is the only one that naturally does more than what the average is. I think we said that on the Michter's episode. I want to say it's like 3 years or something like that. Well, Bomberger's and Shanks is 3 years. I think normal Michter's, just like US 1 stuff, is 18 months. So I'd imagine if there are extra aging, it's probably right along the lines of that. Or extra seasoning, it's probably right along the lines of that 18-month mark.
Yeah, I feel like I actually had the information at one point, but I probably am terrible.
Well, maybe if you didn't ditch them after they were very kind to you.
That's something I would have liked to do. But oh well. They offered me and my wife a tour. So sad.
It's kind of got like it smells beautiful. It does smell a little thin, but it's bold at the same time. It's got like a little hint of cinnamon going on.
I was gonna say it smells like it smells. What proof is this? Did you say
it's 102?
It smells so much more dense than 102 would lead me to believe, and like packs a hefty.
And the weird. I grew up on the ocean. Like I grew up on the ocean. Me and my dad. My dad was a fisherman. I grew up on the Jersey Shore. Not like fist pumping. I was actually a native. Like we would fish every weekend. I've cut fish. I've seen what floats in the water in there. That's why I don't eat them. Take people out fishing professionally. The one complaint I've always got about, I'll call them whiskey bennies. They're people who just like get a good bottle of whiskey or a bottle that's very well available and just think that they have this awesome bottle, which is fine. But some people I know who have been really excited about Jefferson Ocean to begin with are like, I can smell the sea air. And I'm just like, yeah, that's bullshit. You can't fucking smell the sea air. I'm going to retract my statement because there is a hint of it here. Just like right on the end, it's very faint.
It's the saltiness.
It does have like a little bit of a salt water characteristic right at the end, at least on the nose. Am I wrong about that?
You're totally. It's like an effervescent, but if you smell salt water, I don't know, it just has that tinginess.
I've never smelt that in Jefferson's Ocean before.
There are old world wine regions along the Mediterranean, in Spain and in Italy and in France that undoubtedly, unequivocally, if you're, somebody who tastes wine often enough, you will pick up on something like sea spray or some sort of salinity or a minerality. I mean, the soil itself sometimes will have, fossilized, seashells, oyster shells, whatever it may be. And you create, you make wine from the grapes that grow on those vines, and it inherently is in what they call the terroir of the wine. It's there. It's undoubtedly there. That is the only reason why the idea of these these barrels floating around on their voyage, collecting,
that one didn't mean to sound like a dick, but you sounded like a huge dick.
No. It's not. And dude, I'm giving them. I'm trying to give them the credit where I believe credit may be due. It's not like they're the corn itself is
grown on the beach.
Yeah. But still, it's not as far fetched as you might think.
Sure.
And that's the only point that I'm trying to make.
Hey man, it's not as much as a gimmick as taking your fucking whiskey barrels and putting them in the back of Jeff Garcia's race car.
Or we took Brad Pace and took this on a trip with him.
What about the Arby's whiskey?
I would still want to try that.
I still want to try it.
I don't care what you say out there.
I still want to try it.
I want
dude.
the Arby's whiskey.
They missed an opportunity there to fat wash that shit with fucking roast beef.
Somebody, if you can get a bottle of that or send me a sample, I want to have Troy fat wash it in an Arby's roast beef.
Dude, we have
make
to
a
do
cocktail.
it. We have to do it, dude.
Yeah, feel free to talk about the tasting notes, but I already tried it.
Did you? Okay. I love the way it smells, but yeah.
It smells dense, and it does not taste like 106 proof to me.
It is hot.
Yeah.
It is dense. It's got like a very
Do you think it tastes hotter than 106?
A little bit.
It's got like a dried berry characteristic to it. I'm getting dried blueberries and dried cherries. Not so much like the caramel type of thing you're getting on the nose, but
I think the initial doesn't taste hotter, Troy, though. But it's like when it finishes. It's kind of lingers it just kind of heats up your mouth a little bit.
It does. Definitely get a little bit more of the proof on the finish.
Yeah.
Ooh, That's my acid reflux. It's not the whiskey.
It's very interesting.
It's very interesting. I don't hate it whatsoever. I wonder how old it is.
Don't know.
Okay, so MSRP of regular Ocean is what, like 80?
I think it's like 75, 80 bucks. Yeah.
Cask strength's like 110,
What? And this was
250.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you can't just assume.
250 in Biden's America gas prices, right?
You gotta drive down
like
there,
300. Yeah. That's a joke. Like,
Yeah, it's like people who don't listen to this probably don't
people who don't
understand
know
that's a
me
joke.
think that I'm some humper, but I'm not. Trust
All right,
me.
anyway, no politics.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It kind of takes me on a little bit of a journey. It's a little bit. It's like a fraction
On
of
a voyage.
voyage. It's a fraction.
That's their word.
It's good. I know it's good marketing.
Yeah.
It's
a
good. It's better than
fraction-
fucking Brad Paisley's tour bus. Like,
the highway whiskey. It's a fraction of Barrel Seagrass Gray Label, but there is an element of there that does linger, and that kind of has me a little bit taking me on an adventure.
I don't know if I
not
have
quite
that.
the same.
It's not that complex compared to Seagrass anyway. The 16
No,
Seagrass.
it's
Not
a
the Gray
it's
Label,
a fraction of that, but it is. There's some sort of
Okay, like what?
something to
What do
it.
you got?
That's a good question.
I get a lot of wood, but not a lot of fruit on the nose.
And that's my point. Yeah, on the nose, like you get the wood, and then the mid palate is fruit to me. Like it's sweet and it's dried fruit, and then it turns into that burn, which is it's a good burn. It's not a young shitty whiskey burn, right?
Ready for something weird?
What?
Always.
Oh yeah, I love these days.
Okay. So imagine this. On your island, you have a wooden, probably a weaved basket.
That's the one you made when you took your journey.
A fruit basket. Full of maybe pears. I don't know. Apricot? Not sure. Some sort of fruit. And then in the middle is also a candle holder. So you have like a little candle with a fruit basket. It's like a center
Like
table
a wax
display.
warmer?
Yeah.
You're warming the fruit?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, guys, close your eyes for the rest
Close
of
your
this.
eyes and imagine.
Yeah,
So you're on shrooms.
yeah, exactly.
And you start licking
On your island.
You start licking the counter, making your way to it's like a wicker basket. And as you look in the wicker basket, then you make your way onto the
Wicker.
Barely licked her.
onto the fruit, and then you keep on going a little bit too far, and then you start, there's a little bit of the wax warmer, like a little bit of the candle heat, kind of hits you at the back end. But you're also on shrooms, so nothing really makes sense.
There's a little bit of BO on the nose. I also get like some curry. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Troy, you didn't like my
I
journey.
loved
did you?
it. I loved it. No, I was just thinking, yeah. BO is not the craziest thing I've ever heard in a tasting note. I think it's actually a thing sometimes.
When you have a personal experience like you had getting this bottle, and it's so unique, and it's so limited, and it's a first, and the hospitality of that distillery, knowing that you made the voyage down there to pay $250 for a bottle that, in my opinion, with all due respect, is not worth $250.
No, but I knew that buying.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, if they want our honest opinion or the 200 people's opinions who bought it, this is okay whiskey, guys. It's good whiskey. You know, it's not offensive by any means. It's definitely not the worst thing I've had today. And yes, I've had some today. Not the worst thing I've had at all, actually. But and I get the exclusivity of it, and there's probably a big cost, and there has to be a profit margin that is good for them to keep doing things like this. I totally get that. If you're a collector like us, this is a cool thing. It's a cool story that you can tell behind it. The bottle's got a cool story. The process has a cool story. I just wouldn't. I wish that the product tasted kind of like it had more of that voyage, like some other things that we've tried. I think it's very mellow. The palate is very mellow. Does finish quite nicely. The nose is great. I like that I can. That's the only part of the ocean voyage thing where I get it. It's kind of on the nose, and the sea spray type of thing mixed with like and a BO is not a bad tasting or bad smelling note at all, but that's like just the thing. It's kind of like a little bit of a funk. Like maybe there's some blood, sweat, and tears put in here, but also like just like this underlying like
Salt
curry that's in there, which I really enjoy actually. But I'm not a huge fan of the overall sip.
My mom used to do this all the time, and I started doing it because it's delicious. Have you ever taken a green, like a Granny Smith apple, and salted it?
No.
Not unless I cooked it.
Mal has put it, apparently if you cut apples up and put them in salt water before you store them, they don't brown as easily if you want to like cut them in advance. I don't know.
But I mean, literally, you take a green apple, you take a Granny Smith apple, take a bite. You have a exposed fruit. You pour some salt shaker on top of it, and you take another bite. That's what I'm getting.
Salted.
You should try it. It's very good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I finished it. We filmed an episode before this where we had Remus Repeal 6 and Remus Gatsby, and I didn't finish either of those. So I will say that. Going back to what I was saying, I am being hypercritical just because they asked us to, and I'm an honest guy. But I think it's a drinker all day.
Really?
I don't really think, I'm just going to call it a drinker, maybe a drinker thinker. But I really think I'm overthinking about it because it's got like this complex idea behind it. You know what I mean? And it's such a special bottle that you kind of want to think about it. This is not a diss. I think my favorite thing is the cork. I think the cork is fucking beautiful on that thing. I don't know. Go ahead.
I think it's a little bit over-oaked overall. Other than that, I think I'd still drink it, though. I'm going to call it a thinker.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was dying there. I let it sit on my palate. You ever let whiskey sit in your palate too long and then just falls back to your throat?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I was just trying to think about that way too hard. Bit me in the butt.
Because there's that that sweet spot at the very back where you just want it to lay there as long as it can.
And then it went back. Yeah. And I just I'm dying.
Yeah,
this is it.
I've definitely been there.
Whew.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think I'm going thinker as well. Yeah, it is hard sometimes to separate your experience with something and then the actual experience of that thing, if that makes sense. Yeah. The story and the actual experience.
And had you gone on the tour and then...
I would have game over.
Yeah, like seriously.
Who knows?
I could have told you actual things about it rather than just drinking
That would be awesome if they would have us and we can come down there and maybe learn about this and maybe... Cool. I wonder if it would change... Yeah.
Exactly. I wonder if it would change your rating, your ranking.
And I almost kind of like that I didn't, only because I kind of can be a little more objective about it.
Right.
I'm like fully convinced that me and Troy drank a whole bottle of pure Kentucky in 2 days because we went on a tour at Willett.
Makes sense.
And like
our
tour guide told it did taste great, but our tour guide was telling us that it was her favorite pour of their whole line.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, and it is delicious for $20 or whatever.
Yeah, and you didn't feel guilty about
exactly slamming it.
Yeah.
And like abusing it like me and Troy abuse alcohol.
Yeah.
That's a cry for help, everybody.
I think it's good enough to warrant being a special bottle. It is better than any.
Of course, that's
Jefferson's
a good
product.
shelf. That's a good shelf bottle.
Yeah,
probably wouldn't open that much.
Yeah.
It's not going into decanter, based on our ratings.
Yeah.
And I would lean toward. And if you're new here, guys, obviously the ranking system, a thinker is not a bad thing whatsoever. If anything, it's one of the utmost compliments you can give it. Some would argue that it's better than a drinker. But it's definitely complex in its own way. I don't really think it's that serious in complexity, but it's a good sip.
I think it's more. I think there is complexity. I think there's more density than complexity, which is not necessarily the same or different. But I genuinely do like it. I don't think I love it, but I really do like it. Quite
awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, man.
Of course.
And thank you to the guys at Jefferson
and
gals for obviously letting us be honest and share our opinions about it. It'd be awesome to meet you guys in person. So, take a little cracker break, and then we're gonna get into another really special bottle.
Yeah, cracker break. Welcome back from a cracker break. It's cracker break. I got him, everybody.
Goddamn right.
Shelby, I can't wait to see that on film. It's gonna be so good. This cracker break is brought to you again by Yeasty Boy Bread Company. Seriously, thank you, Kyle, Courtney. You guys are awesome.
Love you.
Bring the crackers and go check them out. YeastyBoyBreadCo.com probably, but go to Parkview Field and go to the farmers markets and buy their bread. Or you can order online. Or you can pre-order online. Anyway, all right. This is more of just a joke. I don't know. An old woman walked into a dentist office, took off all her clothes, and spread her legs.
Oh.
The dentist said, "I think you have the wrong room." "You put in my husband's teeth last week," she replied. "Now you have to remove them."
Wow. Wow.
Anyway, that's funny to me. So there you go.
What do
All
what do we have here,
What
Mateo?
do we have here? Something I'm very excited about. I like Jack Daniels. I would say I love Jack Daniels. And this is the new 2022 Jack Daniels special release. It is a single malt,
Ooh.
which we all seem to like. Better yet, it's finished in Oloroso sherry casks.
Oh my.
Ooh.
So you know what? Let's just open it up.
Let's pop that bitch.
Yeah.
Is it hazmat?
I don't think so. You can grab it and give it to Troy if you want.
You're
After-
closer.
I was gonna
You
read-
are closer
I was gonna
to
read some
Troy.
stuff.
You're closer to Troy.
Okay. Troy, you can read the stats.
Dude, it's the same proof as the last one we just had.
Awesome.
That's actually awesome. I'm very excited.
It is obviously single malt, so it's 100% malted barley. It's about 70 bones, $70, so it's significantly cheaper than Jefferson's. So we'll see if it's see this. But they have a whole long spiel about this, but it's a 4-year whiskey, finished 2 years in the finest quality Spanish Oloroso sherry casks from the Antonio Paez Labato cooperage before bottling cask proof. That's what they say. It is twice barreled, obviously, and they sell in 700 milliliter bottles.
I love those bottles, man.
I really, really like them. They were saying, so they came across this bunch of single malt that didn't have the sweetness or richness that they wanted, and so they bought 330 barrels, sherry Oloroso sherry butts. They specifically said $1,000 a piece, and they just finished them in that to kind of give it the sweetness that they were looking for. And from my understanding, they have a bunch of single malt still aging.
They spent $300,000 on barrels.
Apparently. So they have a bunch of single malt still aging, and I'm assuming, I don't really know for sure, but I'm assuming they're coming out with more single malt products like this.
I don't think
later
they've
on.
had a single malt before, have they?
It's the malt obviously is part of their main whiskey, but not to my knowledge. They might have, I don't know, I'm not a Jack Daniel historian, but this is the first one I know of. So, yeah, they are, here we go. Jack Daniels anticipates adding a single malt whiskey or a malt whiskey to its permanent lineup in the summer of 2023.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there will be a Jack Daniels malt. I'm assuming single malt, American single malt is doing well enough where they're probably
one of the first big names to hop on the train.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just very curious. Oh, poof. Some people said they're so interestingly enough, because I've been trying to get this bottle for so long. This is actually a Christmas, not a present. He just let me buy it, but a Christmas present from my fellow friendly liquor store clerk. He said, I heard it's Christmas and you want a special bottle. I said, yeah. I said, I would like the Jack Daniels. He said, I remember you're looking for that. Here you go. And I said, I like you.
Did you really say I'm looking for the Jack Daniels?
He said, yeah. He said, oh yeah, you were the one that was looking for that, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I have an extra bottle in the back. I just couldn't remember who wanted it. Oh, cool. You just put it down there. Or yeah. Actually,
Oh my God.
This is the most fun to pour, by the way, in terms
this
of
one thing.
ease of pouring.
So before we start here,
I can't wait.
Most people have said this is one of the top whiskeys of the year.
Oh wow!
Except Fred Minnick, who said this it was so bad he hated it and just wanted to give his bottle away.
No way.
No
Give
joke.
it to me, Fred.
No joke.
It smells like chocolate chip cookies.
He had one of those sample bottle, like the what are those called? Like you give to like
Jack probably
reviewers.
didn't pay him enough.
I don't know. But you give those. He had one of the reviewer bottles, the sample bottles, and he's like, "This is terrible." He hated it. So we'll see. Anyway,
It smells like chocolate chip cookies.
but like you put them in a milkshake, like you
Yeah.
liquefied them.
Yeah.
It's like a brown butter milkshake. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is probably, we love single malt, and I know many of us love, like, sherry finished things. So, in theory, this should be amazing. I wonder if it'll be terrible, though. Try to get anything on the nose that it jumps out at you?
Bitter chocolate.
Do you like wood polish a little bit?
Sure.
A little bit.
Yeah. Phenolic.
Nice. Call back.
There's like some dry, just like dry molasses. It doesn't come off like super candied.
What if it was freeze dried and powdered?
Do they do that?
No, but it's like it has that like frostbitten kind of like it kind of has that smell.
I don't get a ton of fruit, I'll be honest.
Yeah, either do I. There's some like beautiful underlying spice there too. And I get like fresh wood.
Yeah. I'm looking for Jack.
It's not there.
It's not there, but I haven't tasted it yet.
Taste it. You'll
Let's see.
sweet. It doesn't really. It's not barley driven on the palate anyway.
But it's rich, but it's also
you get the Jack.
dried fruit.
Yeah, I told you he's there. He's
It is
just hanging out in the bottom.
It's a fruitier, not fruitier. It's a dried fruitier, chocolatier Jack. It's like almost. It is.
It's just like it doesn't
Jack
taste
blend.
like a single malt to me, which
No.
is okay.
Yeah.
It's still fucking fantastic. It's thinner than I thought it would be.
I agree.
That's for sure. But it's not like thin. It's just thinner than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be a little bit bolder.
It's not.
But it's got like
depthy.
that Tennessee charcoal filtered thing that kind of probably mellows it out.
It's not deep, but it's wide.
Yeah.
Like it kind of hits the sides of your mouth. It really expands really quickly in your mouth. But it definitely doesn't have the depth that I was expecting. Yeah.
Kind of have to remember that it's Tennessee whiskey.
That's true.
Like, I get so much more of the barley and the malted barley. That initial chocolate chip cookie thing is turning more and more into grain as I smell it, and into bitter chocolate too. But like grain is what I get there, just like fresh milled grain with like wood chips. It's kind of
I don't mean that. I mean, I say this because it's not a joke, but it's like the husk more so of the grain.
Yep. Like maybe
like
the unripe parts of it or something.
Like the leftovers, like the discarded parts.
Yep. I think the $1,000 barrels are doing the trick, though. Let me tell you, like especially on the finish. I don't know why Jack Daniels of all companies didn't force his hand and find good barrels for under $1,000 a piece, but
yeah, that's what they cost from this particular Alejandro, whatever.
I really, really appreciate them spending the money, man, because that's like it's cool to hear when even the biggest names in the game are willing to make their products. Like Jack's gonna make money either way. They didn't have to spend fucking $300,000 on barrels for a limited release. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that they only charge $70 for. That's the other thing with them too. If you find their stuff at MSRP, it's so fucking cheap.
That's
like
what I
kudos
love.
to them, man.
I love that so much about them.
I love it.
And the secondary is insane because it's like $5, $6, $7, whatever $100, but they stick at $70 MSRP and have for the last 4 special releases.
Yeah, man. And it's like the triple mash and the bonded that they released earlier this year, and I'm sure their single malt is going to do well, or their malted whiskey is going to do well. Yeah, and it's probably going to be $35 fucking dollars. It's probably going to be $35 in a 700 milliliter bottle. And it's a shame. It's if you are a liquor store clerk out there and you take triple mash or bonded and you put it in your allocated section and you charge fucking $56 for it, fuck yourself. It's a shame that you do that. Respect them. There's plenty of that to go around, and they do the whiskey industry a favor and remind people that just because we have power doesn't mean we need to take money out of people's pockets.
Yeah.
A very respectful distillery.
Seemingly so, and they do a lot of experimental stuff. I mean, like, I'm assuming they put out those, I think we've done it on the barbecue episode, or whatever episode we did. I forget which one we did.
The Tennessee Tasters.
Yeah, they do Tennessee Tasters, and I think that they use that as a jumping off point for what they're going to actually bottle as a big special release. So, I don't know.
And the Tennessee Taster stuff is cheap, too, man. It's
I know.
$30 or $40 for a $3.75.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's getting more. Unfortunately, those are ones that are getting more expensive as they do weirder stuff.
Yeah,
but
I think the most I've seen in that even secondary is $50, man.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, they're even now people don't think of Jack Daniels as like more of an experimental, higher end, cooler kind of vibey kind of place. But they're putting out some good stuff, and it's just not number 7.
Yeah,
it's like that's just not.
And there's nothing wrong with number 7.
Yeah.
But like if you find single barrel select or the gold label barrel proof or triple mash or the bonded or any of their other releases, I can't really attest that Jack Honey's any good. That's like the only gimmicky thing I feel like they do. But like People love it.
They make the fire in the apple.
Yeah, that whole.
But you know what?
They don't make peanut butter though.
But here's the thing.
I will hey, I will say, have you guys had the fucking canned Jack Honey
Cokes?
the Jack Honey and lemonades?
No.
It sounds like we're gonna have a slobber knocker with those soon,
boy.
aren't we?
I mean, generally, like if I'm in an amphitheater watching a concert, and that's an option.
Specifically an amphitheater.
No, but nothing else. Though.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I'm gonna say I bet I'm glad that they can sell all the flavored stuff so that they can keep this at $70.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's fine.
Yeah.
They do everything right. I feel like it's almost like what Basil Hayden's should do. Like,
Yeah.
like they have like this gimmicky whiskey, and then they have all these special releases, but they're all just gimmicks, and it sucks. Sorry.
I mean, my biggest issue with them, since we're on the subject, is that at least all the ones I've seen are 80 proof.
Yep.
Well, you make more money.
Well, I mean, and this is not meant to be offensive, but the story with Basil Hayden's is that the Beam Distillery wanted to release a whiskey that was more appealing to get women to drink it.
Yeah.
So they made it a lower proof.
Yeah, I forgot about
It
that.
was supposed to get women or people not into bourbon.
But everybody most people that I ask that are not big into whiskey, that like whiskey or they're talking about it because it's trending and stuff. If I say, what are your favorite brands or what's your go-to? Basil Hayden's is up there, like top 3 for almost all of them.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, yeah.
It's a gateway whiskey. I mean, it's not my preference, but it does do the job. So.
I used to always have dark rye here for making drinks. Always.
Well,
I think I do now too. It's never going to get opened ever again.
any final words on?
Yeah, I mean,
this?
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Jack. Like, thank you. And thank you, the guys at Jefferson's, too, obviously. Like, I hope hopping from their stuff, saying what we said there, and hopping to this and saying what we're saying here is not, a slap in anybody's face. It's not meant to be that. This is just very, like, you think single malt, and all the single malt stuff that we've had on here, like, we're pretty versatile in what we drink. We drink rye, we drink bourbon, we drink American whiskey, we drink Irish whiskey, we drink single malt. It doesn't fucking matter. We drink whiskey, right? Like, this does not taste like your traditional single malt, and I guarantee you the Tennessee process has something to do with that. That's it.
Probably.
It has to be, but it is still unique. But it's still Jack Daniels, and like that is a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
agree
like
with that.
you know what I mean. It's a drinker thinker, 100% of the time, and if you guys ever see this, you probably won't. If you guys ever see this, buy it
At MSRP.
in MSRP.
Or close.
Honestly, I pay $150 for this.
I was thinking going 120-ish.
Yeah. I'd probably pay $150 for this.
Cool. I like the bottles, and I've liked Special Release Rye. I've liked the Coy Hill. I like this one. I'm sure the Heritage that I didn't get was really good. Their releases are so consistently good. I don't know. Anyway, I'll stop gushing about them.
Oh my God, this is just fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll put the mic away so someone else can talk. Like, this is so good.
Troy, what do you think?
I'm a very big fan. Anthony said it very well. They stay true to themselves, but they offer such a wide variety of options and styles. And yeah, not everybody knows that. A bottle like this is not easy to find, so maybe that's part of the reason. But the bonded and triple mash and the single barrel select stuff, I mean, most of the time is easier to find depending on where you are. I'm totally biased because Jack is fucking from day one of my whiskey consumption. It started there, and it's probably gonna end there.
That'll be the last
We're
one.
going to put you in a number 7 casket.
There's a black casket that
Yeah.
says number
On his
7 on it.
tombstone, old number 7
but
rests here.
Truth is, man, like I'll float back and forth. I remember I went from Jack to Jameson and had my Jameson phase,
Oh,
as you do.
Yeah.
When you're college age, hanging out, going to parties and whatnot. And then all the different types of bourbon that I've fallen in love with. But there's nothing quite like Jack. It's just the way she goes.
Yeah.
As for my rating here, I will call it a drinker thinker. It is very consumable, but I'm sure, I really want to give it the time of day and pour myself, a couple fingers worth and analyze over the course of like an hour and see what sort of changes are happening.
It's very complex, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm already getting something down. We're going to hold it just to warm it up a little bit. I don't like to do that typically, but It does
Yeah.
change it drastically. So.
I mean,
more red
every
fruity.
sip is tasted different.
Yeah.
Every,
Yeah.
every smell is tasted different.
And they're listing cooperage, and you got to figure they've got that relationship with their coopers if they're spending that kind of money.
Yeah.
And barrels cost money, point blank. They
Sure.
cost money, and the best of the best impart flavors that make you really really think and analyze, and that's gonna contribute massively to
And I
this.
have to imagine it wasn't shot in the dark. They're like, all right, because even they said, like, we need more sweetness. What do we do?
Yeah.
They go to, like, they just, I'm assuming they knew what they're going for. They've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, these are the people we need to go to. The barrels we want. Like,
And they could have gone sweeter with PX, but
They could have.
But
I don't think
this
they
is-
needed to,
No,
honestly.
this
I think
is-
it's perfectly balanced.
yeah, very very good balance.
The Oloroso stuff is usually, obviously, not as sweet as PX stuff
Yeah.
whatsoever, but
Yeah.
if anything, it's a little more drier, I would think.
Yeah.
And I don't get any of
Oloroso's
that.
far drier,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't get any of that.
I mean, it is, it's definitely not overly sweet, but it's definitely on the
Yeah.
drier side. But it's not like, it's not dry by any means.
I think it's perfectly done.
Yeah. Everything we've said,
You spend $1,000 on a barrel
Drinker
for
thinker.
finishing. Sorry,
Right.
Oh, you're good.
Exactly.
like you spend $1,000 on a barrel for finishing. Like, how long do you put it in there? And that's the other thing too. It's just like, all right, well, we spent fucking $300,000 in barrels. We're going to let this stuff age. We're going to use these barrels, right? But whatever it is, they were knocking on those barrels and they were tasting it, and
2
they
years.
pulled it out at the same time. They pulled it out at the right time, man.
Yep.
At least this batch,
that's true. I'm genuinely curious. Every year, that's like the one bottle. I know you talk about like midwinters.
yeah.
Jack Special releases for me. That's the one I always look for. That I was.
It's cool. Midwinters isn't even that good. I just want it. It's like it's a tradition
Yeah, that's
bottle.
what I'm saying.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yep.
But like this stuff is fucking great. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing once
Yeah,
again.
I think I mentioned there's drinker thinker as well. Let's just put in the freaking thing
Be done with it.
and be done with it.
Sure. My pleasure.
But yeah, you said out of the bottles we've done tonight, that is your favorite to pour. You said, Troy.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the pouring reward.
Oh
award.
yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's because of long neck. I think it just
it helps.
just-
It helps massively.
If you don't mind.
The broad-shouldered
It's okay.
Remus and Jefferson bottles, they are more prone to spilling along the sides.
It's fair.
And this also has like the angled sort of shoulders.
Mhm. Good bottle design.
Yeah.
They could put like some sort of like ornament or something on top of it too. Kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got the space for it.
The tag doesn't get in the way either.
Yeah.
Like I really like that.
Good job, Jack Daniels. You don't need our approval because you already know what you're doing, but good job on you. All right. Well, anything else you want to say? I think we got cocktail docs coming up.
We got some cock and docks coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna mess with some shit. And if Matt goes on an excursion and finds any whiskeys, maybe we'll do some of those soon too.
Got some stuff lined up that's a little bit crazy.
Really?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
As long as it's not 100% corn whiskey from a town of population 99 in Indiana, I don't care.
Even if it is, we'll try it here and let you know what we think.
Yeah.
Is it a stinker, a drinker, or a thinker?
Oh God, we're not doing that.
All
Hey,
right.
we appreciate all of you guys. Thanks so much for the support. Like, subscribe, drop a comment. If you're like Fred Minnick and you think this sucked, we agree to disagree, but drop us a comment. We'll fight with you. I've yet to have anyone fight with me on social media, and maybe I'd be interested in it more if you guys started being little pricks. That is a call to action. Pricks unite. Anyway, again, until next time, everybody. We love you, Troy.
I start.
I can't.
Me and Matt.
I'll finish.
Ready?
Oh.
Yodeling.
Yodeling.